I am live today with Tracey Ehman as advertised, and today Tracey is going to be telling us all about her area of genius. But before I get to that, a little bit about Tracey herself. She is an online presence and social media expert. And in addition to that, Tracey is a best-selling author of the book, The Silver Lining of Cancer. She is the go-to person for enhancing your online presence and helping you not only get found online, but also optimizing your website and your social media efforts to attract your ideal audience by using the power of keywords. And keywords is something that Tracey is pretty passionate about, and I am dying to ask her all about it. So Tracey, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for getting on with me today. So just before we get into the keywords goodies, so you've had an interesting journey. You're an author. You were a systems analyst, so you're a geek girl. Yes. Lady after my own heart. And what were you doing professionally, and how did you end up being an online entrepreneur?
Well, I started, I was a systems analyst. Mm-hmm. So what I was doing was just sort of internal business to business and working on having new software programs implemented into the different areas, but then providing the support afterwards. So I've always kind of been in the support aspect of things, like to make it easy for people to do things. And but then I was working on a huge project, had 2 young kids at home, and it was wearing me out. So I thought I would take some time off, and they said, you can take some time off, that's great, but we'd like to move you into a management role. But if you go, your job's going to disappear. I was a union employee at that point. Yeah. So I took that as a great opportunity for me to stay at home with my kids.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And so that's what launched you into the online entrepreneurial world?
Because I was at home and I needed to do something, because I always need to be doing something, right? It's like, that's my mind. It can't just sort of sit and watch TV.
Yeah.
So what I found was I was trying different things. I dabbled in direct sales and so forth, but I loved kind of playing on the internet, playing with affiliate programs and just kind of, testing things out. And ultimately, I turned that into a business. I was going to go back to work, though. I was networking. Mm-hmm. And I said to everybody, well, I think I have to go back and get a job. And they're like, well, what do you want to do? And I'm like, well, I want to help people. I want to help people online. I want to help people, with their businesses. There's so many things to do. I can assist them. Mm-hmm. And I walked out of that with 4 clients. And wow, that's how my business started. So I don't think it was necessarily the path I thought I was going to take, but it's a path that does make sense.
And I'm assuming it was the right path for you.
Yes, definitely.
Wow. Okay. So were you immediately drawn to this online presence and social media presence optimization that you do with your clients?
No, it was something that sort of evolved over time. I've been doing websites, for probably 10 years or more now. So It's always something that I've, been aware of. But really what drew me into sort of specializing where I am is that people would be spending a lot of money on websites and no one was finding them, because beauty is wonderful and it's, you love your website, but if it's not attracting your ideal audience, then it's, you've wasted your money in a way. Yeah. So that's where I kind of looked at ways that I could be helping people out with it.
So do you still do a lot of the website stuff, or is it kind of 50-50 online social media versus website?
Well, my belief is that you always need to have an overall cohesive online presence strategy. So when I'm starting with clients, I'll do a strategy session, and that encompasses, everything that's online, your website, your blog, if your blog and website are combined, even better, any social media that might be good for you and who you're trying to attract, because we don't need to be on every single platform.
Right.
I like to dabble on them all just so that I have a better idea of what certain things do so that I can help my clients that way. Mm-hmm. But I find that probably more like 40-60. So 40 websites, 60 social media.
Just out of curiosity, do you have any particular specialization on the website side when it comes to platforms like, the big one, WordPress?
Yes, WordPress is where I spend most of my time, but I'm also that technical aspect of things. It's like I've gone into the back of like really old HTML websites and been able to go in and do some minor coding, but enough that it allows us to get what we need done.
Yeah.
I've also worked a little bit on Joomla, but I like WordPress the best. I feel that whatever I need, whatever my clients need, whatever I need, there's someone out there that has built a plugin that's going to do it really nicely for me.
Yeah. 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 Plugins. Yeah, sorry about that. I'll tell you later. So anyways, so the one thing that kind of jumped out at me initially was that your connection with LinkedIn. That's one of the tools that you help people with. And that is, I find, one of the tools that is, that and Pinterest, least understood for social media marketing. Pinterest on one side and LinkedIn on the other. So what do you tell your clients about how they should be using LinkedIn?
Well, once again, it depends on what my clients are offering,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're looking for business to business, if you're providing services and programs and tools for other businesses, you for sure want to be on LinkedIn. But LinkedIn is an interesting, it has an interesting dynamic as well. You don't necessarily need to post quite as often, obviously, as Twitter and as Facebook, but you want to be strategic in what you're posting. So once again, we talked about keywords, and we'll talk a little bit more about those, but people are searching very quickly for things. So something has to draw their attention in.
Yeah.
So there's lots of ways within LinkedIn to use keywords to help people be able to use all the filters, because the filters within LinkedIn are phenomenal. But if you don't have any of that information in your profile, you're not going to be found.
Right. So do you want to dive into this keywords topic now, or?
Sure.
All right. So keywords, we have all heard of them to one degree or another, but this is one of your passions. So tell us, what are keywords and why are they so important?
Okay. Well, keywords are what we use to attract audiences to our websites, our social media, and so forth. So when you're searching for something on Google, you can search for life coach. If you're looking for a life coach, then you'll get all those search returns. Those keywords are important because you should have life coach somewhere in your profiles if that's what you are. But you can also have something called long tail keywords. And what those are things that are a little bit more descriptive, a little bit more niche. So you could have life coach in Victoria.
Okay.
So then what you do is you kind of start to weed out sort of the noise, right? Because when you're searching for something on Google, and most of us Google every day, it's like, oh, I'll go Google that, right?
Right.
But the more specific people are in their searches, the more likely what is going to be returned to them is going to be of relevance. So that's why keywords are so important, and to be able to utilize them, if you have them in your content and your header tags and all the different places that you can put them on your website, you're more likely to have people find you.
Okay. Well, loop back to header tags.
Yes.
No, let's do it now just in case I forget. Okay. So what is a header tag?
So a header tag is so basically you have on your web page or your blog post, you have the main title, right? So that's usually a header one. And then you can have like subheadings. So if you have something that you want to highlight, usually when you're writing a blog post or a web page, you want to have sort of highlight certain things. So if someone is just going to go and hit the highlights, you want those highlights to be kind of highlighted in a way, right? If you use keywords for those or a keyword, they don't have to be exactly the same word, but something that sort of is either a synonym of it or something that can be used, in alignment with it, then those are great sections of words that would be used on a header tag.
So what to the reader just looks like, say, a paragraph heading.
Yes.
It's actually, as you say, it's H2, it's a header, and you use your keywords there.
Yes, exactly.
So keywords, we got to use them strategically. How does somebody who's not specializing like you in this whole science of keywords and marketing with keywords, how would the average online entrepreneur find out what the best keywords are for them and their business?
I always find it's important to check out your competition or your perceived competition or someone that speaks to your same audience. You may provide complimentary services, but see what they're doing first. Because some of the wording may not apply to you, but it's a great start. There are programs that you can use. You could sign up for an AdWords account in Google, but you can use the keyword planner within that. So a lot of times I will use that. There's a lot of other programs out there that you can use. There's more coming all the time.
We had 2 weeks ago, Pauline Pierrick had mentioned keywords everywhere.
Yes, actually, I plugged that while I was watching that, and I added that one. It was the first time I heard of it. So there is so many new ones coming out all the time. You have to see what would be useful for you.
What's your favorite?
I have one called Market Samurai. I paid for it few years back, and it kind of connects into Google and is able to pull out some additional statistics for me. But I still generally go back to, watching what my competition or people that are talking to my audience are using, and then seeing if they fit in properly. The other thing I'll do too is if you search for something on Google, at the very bottom, it gives you other suggestions that you might want to consider. And that kind of helps give you some additional terminology that you could be using to attract your audience.
Clever. Okay. So for a techie, you go and you look at your competition and you figure out what their keywords are. For somebody who's not used to stripping it down and weeding this out, how would your average, not overly techie person find out what the keywords are their competition's using?
Well, one of the ways is to check their social media. When they are posting, they are likely using, let's say I'm posting something on Twitter, and I'll say, check out this great new tool for hashtag social media success, or something along those lines, right? So they can search for returns on Twitter. So there's a little search bar at the top. So you can search in there for what you think people are going to be searching for. One of the things with keywords is a lot of times we know what we're offering people.
Yes.
And we have that certain terminology that we think everybody should know. But in reality, what we need to do is kind of switch it a little bit and figure out what can we do for them? What are they needing from us? What are they searching for? And that's where you pull those words in. So keywords are kind of, keywords are any words that you use in a way, but there's obviously some that people are going to be searching for versus others.
Okay. Now you had mentioned hashtags. So what is the overlap between hashtags? Is it basically if we know we've got, say, the top dozen keywords for our business, should we be using them in hashtags, or how do you recommend your clients use hashtags?
Yeah. So hashtags are really like keywords on supercharge, right? Because what happens with hashtags is they're linkable. Once you put that hash in front of your words, then you can actually click on it in almost all platforms, and it'll basically do like a search for you, and it'll pull up all the relevant information. So you obviously wouldn't use 100 of them, or 50 or even 25 or whatever, depending on what your platform is. But I think they're really important to have because a lot of people are searching through the noise, and this allows them to do that filter. Okay.
So they'd be searching via hashtags.
Yeah, search via hashtags. And it gives you some great idea. Like if you're, maybe I don't have any competition, or you think you don't have any competition, but if you search through certain words that you think your audience would be looking at and see what other people are posting, it gives you a good idea. And whether it feels, but it has to feel right for you, because you need to always keep that authenticity, because people are going to know that really wasn't your words or anything like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So when you're working with your clients, and this is something that they need help with, where do you get started with them on that? Do you just go through and do your strategy session with them and then narrow it down to here's your platforms, put your effort into these? Yes. And do you help them find their keywords?
I do. So what I do with my strategy session is like they end up walking away with an 8 to 10 page report. And we've gone through and given them ideas. So things like, you're talking LinkedIn. One of the important places to incorporate some keywords or what people are looking for is within your headline. And a lot of times so to give you an example, if you're CEO of your company, that's awesome. But CEO means nothing to me.
Right.
So if you want that CEO in there, see your CEO of independent learning and online marketing, right? So what you've done is you've given some other keywords that people might be able to draw from versus just a basic generic title. President's the same thing. Yes, it's awesome that you're a president, but it really depends. We don't really know whether you're president of a company with 500,000 people or 2 people, or you're by yourself. It doesn't matter. I think it's awesome that you're president, but I still don't know what you do. So I'm not necessarily going to reach out to you based on any of the returns that I would get.
Yeah. Which makes me think, I'm almost embarrassed to have you go to my LinkedIn profile.
Well, there's a couple different options. Like you can have like a conversational thing. And I mean, yours was good. You help women 50 plus create programs. Like I can't remember exactly what it was but
along those lines. Memorize it? Oh my God.
Well, like you said, you and I are very much the same that way. But I mean, you're touching on your target audience. You're touching on, what you offer. So it's in there. Could you tighten it up a bit? Maybe. But do you need to? It depends, because you also got to think of who are you talking to?
Yeah.
Are you talking to corporate America or Canada or whatever?
Yeah.
Or are you talking to, women who maybe were in corporate, aren't in corporate anymore, but know that they have a profile out there. They might as well, sort of get involved and kind of get their feet wet on LinkedIn.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Every time, like you say, we're similar in this carpenters or cobbler's kids.
Yes.
What you do for other people, you don't do for yourself. But I don't do LinkedIn for other people, but I look at my LinkedIn profile and think, maybe tomorrow. So on the LinkedIn profile, I had read in some of the information when I was lurking you that you were talking about implementing keywords in our LinkedIn profiles and strategies to connect with more of our ideal market, collaborations, or influencers.
Yeah, so it's
intriguing. Tell me more.
Well, once again, the option to filter, to search, so that search function, you can put the keywords, you can put where people are located, you can pick like what kind of industry people are in. So if you start searching for people that are in a particular industry, are specialize in certain areas, it's a great way to start to build a connection. So when because you can go into LinkedIn and you can send people a message. We usually like to do it based on maybe an introduction from somebody or so forth. But if you find that there's something that's very, very complementary between the two of you, then what you might want to do is say, hey, you came up in my, list of LinkedIn profiles to check out, and I noticed that we have this in common. I'd love to learn more and would love to connect. And, very, very basic. You're not trying to sell anything when you reach out and connect. It's really what you did. You did that very well when you reached out to me. It's just about building a conversation, because we are not meeting in person.
Mm-hmm.
You still need to have those points of contact along the way. And It's a great way to weed it out, because if you kind of just say, okay, I'm going to, invite everybody to connect. If that's your strategy, that's great. But for most of us, we're trying to connect with people that speak to our audience or can introduce us to people that would be in our audience, or introduce us to people that we can joint venture or collaborate with, because nobody wants to do this all alone. It's not fun, right?
Yeah, it's fun when you collaborate.
Yeah.
So now, would it be asking too much to share your screen and show us how you do one of these searches?
Oh, sure. Oh, hang on.
Now, I'm putting you on the spot on that one.
You are. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Anything for you, darling.
All right.
Because when I realize when you're talking about it, I can envision what you're talking about vaguely because I'm on LinkedIn, but for somebody who's pretty new to it, it might be kind of hard to envision what you're talking about.
Okay.
So that's your LinkedIn profile.
That's my LinkedIn profile. I had a little person made like me, and I talk about strategies and building relationships one post at a time.
Profile.
Well, there's a couple different options. Like you can have like a conversational thing, and I mean yours was good. You help women 50 plus create programs. Like I can't remember exactly what it was but along those lines.
Memorize it? Oh my God.
Yeah, but, well, like you said, you and I are very much the same that way. But you are touching. You're touching on your target audience. You're touching on what you offer. So it's in there. Could you tighten it up a bit? Maybe. But do you need to? It depends, because you also got to think of who are you talking to?
Yeah.
Are you talking to corporate America or Canada or whatever?
Yeah.
Or are you talking to, women who maybe were in corporate, aren't in corporate anymore, but know that they have a profile out there. They might as well, sort of get involved and kind of get their feet wet on LinkedIn.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Every time, like you say, we're similar in this carpenters or cobbler's kids.
Yes.
What you do for other people, you don't do for yourself. But I don't do LinkedIn for other people, but I look at my LinkedIn profile and think, maybe tomorrow. So on the LinkedIn profile, I had read in some of the information when I was lurking you that you were talking about implementing keywords in our LinkedIn profiles and strategies to connect with more of our ideal market, collaborations, or influencers. Yeah, so it's intriguing. Tell me more.
Well, once again, the option to filter, to search. So that search function, you can put the keywords, you can put where people are located, you can pick like what kind of industry people are in. So if you start searching for people that are in a particular industry, are specialize in certain areas, it's a great way to start to build a connection. So when you are, because you can go into LinkedIn and you can send people a message. You usually like to do it based on maybe an introduction from somebody or so forth. But if you find that there's something that's very, very complementary between the two of you, then what you might want to do is say, hey, you came up in my, list of LinkedIn profiles to check out, and I noticed that we have this in common. I'd love to learn more and would love to connect. And, very, very basic. You're not trying to sell anything when you reach out and connect. It's really what you did. You did that very well when you reached out to me. It's just about building a conversation, because we are not meeting in person. You still need to have those points of contact along the way. And It's a great way to weed it out, because if you kind of just say, okay, I'm going to, invite everybody to connect. If that's your strategy, that's great. But for most of us, we're trying to connect with people that speak to our audience, or can introduce us to people that would be in our audience, or introduce us to people that we can joint venture or collaborate with, because nobody wants to do this all alone. It's not fun, right?
Yeah, it's fun when you collaborate.
Yeah.
So now, would it be asking too much to share your screen and show us how you do one of these searches?
Oh, sure. Oh, hang on.
Now, I'm putting you on the spot on that one.
You are. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Anything for you, darling.
All right.
Because when I realize when you're talking about it, I can envision what you're talking about vaguely because I'm on LinkedIn, but for somebody who's pretty new to it, it might be kind of hard to envision what you're talking about.
Okay.
But that's your LinkedIn profile.
That's my LinkedIn profile. I had a little person made like me, and I talk about strategies and building relationships one post at a time. And you can change this out. So you can change out your banner, and what I was talking about, headlines. So you can go and change your headline. So mine is online presence and social media expert, best-selling author of The Silver Lining of Cancer. So if someone's searching for online presence or social media expert or author, then potentially I could show up in their searches. Okay, so that's where you'd put that.
Okay.
With your searches, in your search here, if we wanted to search, what would you want me to search?
So say we're searching for, all right, just out of curiosity, my ideal client is, as you had said, a professional woman, previously corporate, now looking to start their own online business. Where would you even start?
Yeah, I don't know if okay, let's just go online business, for instance. We did a search.
So you were searching companies there or individuals?
I am just searching it all. So I got online business, and then you can check your connections. So your connections, you can choose, first or second or third of your connections.
Okay. Yep.
If you've already connected with people, then you really don't necessarily, you already know who they are, then you don't necessarily have to include the first person searching that, but you might want to include the second. So that would be basically anybody that is your first line of connections, it's who they're connected to. So you can actually see those.
You've got mutual connections.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Now you can also filter out certain companies, but we're not going to search companies that way. We can search out locations. So maybe it's just we want to look for people in Canada.
Okay.
Okay. So we can apply that. And then all filters, there's other filter options. So maybe we just want people that are interested in marketing and advertising. For you, finding people that are kind of in transition may not have any.
Tricky.
Yeah, because they don't. Some of them will put that they're looking for something, but I also always recommend that like whatever you did before is still worth having on here, even if it's not where you're going next, because it still allows people to learn about you, learn about what your skills are. The skills that we have in one place can totally be applied to skills moving forward too.
And a question about that. It strikes me really strangely when I see somebody, especially somebody with some professional background, who says like in transition or looking for employment.
Yeah, I mean, I see that too, and I'm not sure that I would do that per se, but for some people, I mean, I guess it depends if you're looking for employment. If you're on here, you're not an entrepreneur, So you don't feel comfortable with starting something on your own, then you're less likely to have something else that you jump right into. If you're searching, you've just been laid off from a, telecommunication company, for instance, you may be looking for other opportunities that are similar. In that case, if you're looking for jobs, then you could probably do more like a job search is probably what you would want to do.
Yeah.
But once again, in the job search, you'd want to put in like what your skills are. So to help with this too, actually, if we can, does this help?
Yes.
Show kind of what how you can kind of go in here. You can keep clicking on different filters along the way and really kind of niche down your results, because otherwise they tend to be a little bit crazy sometimes. I'm going to go back here, profile. The other thing you want to do with incorporating keywords is, you want to put them in your job descriptions as well. So, like I work with Women's Speakers Association, but I also have my online presence and social media expert in there, right? So I've incorporated it. See, owner. So I was talking about CEO. We've got owner, strategist, online presence. So you can incorporate them there. You can incorporate them within some of the text. You never want to go crazy with keywords, but you do want to let people know what it is that you offer. And then you have at the bottom, oh, it's gone, your endorsement, your skills and endorsements. So these are, you look at these words, maybe you're not sure what you want to use as far as keywords. Come in here and see what people are starting to endorse you for, right? Because they're endorsing you for strategy and entrepreneurship and marketing strategy. So this kind of gives you a little bit of an idea, a place to start. And you can control this. You have up to 50 that you can add. So you can go in and add or remove things, and you can choose which ones are kind of show up as sort of the, the top 5 that you want to be endorsed for.
Right. Well, thank you very much for indulging me in that, Tracey.
Oh, you're very welcome.
That was not something I queued you up for. Sorry.
That's okay.
So all this information about the keywords, and I noticed, I'm going to go back to your LinkedIn page. You've got an article right there. Is it a video or an article about keyword secrets?
I have, it's probably an article. It's actually, I have a website called Keyword Marketing Secrets, and it would be a great, yes.
We're going to drop that
Here's
link
a report. Yep, we'll put that in there, keywordmarketingsecrets.com, and it's going to just provide you with a report. What it's going to do, though, is give you some examples of, kind of go over some of what we did today, what keywords are, how you would use them, and a couple of the different platforms. I give some examples on it with some visuals. So, if you're a sort of a multimedia type learner, you've got a whole bunch of different facets there.
Yeah.
So
now I don't want to run out of time before I find out. So do you have any packages or anything that you're marketing right now to clients?
I do
programs.
I do market my my online presence strategy. I always find it's a great way to really learn about each other. It's a great way to know whether you want to work together, but it also allows the client to go away with something that's tangible that they can take to someone else, or they can, work through on their own, or they can work with me. So it's sort of a win-win for everybody that way.
Yeah.
So I have that.
So if nothing else, they're coming away from their time with you educated.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It just works better. And as everybody that's on here is an online entrepreneur of some sort, what you'll find is a lot of your free consultations take up a lot of your time, and they aren't free to you. So after, when you first get started, you might do a lot of those, but after a while, I'm like, if I can provide somebody with a tangible thing that when we decide to work together, I've already got all the information I need, but they walk away with something, then my time is covered and they are getting something out of it. And that's where that came into play.
That's brilliant.
And
so I'm able to drop that link as well. That's separate.
Well, you know what? They can reach out to me on that. I don't have a link for it at this point. It's kind of more like a conversation that I provide. But and then we'll have another link I would love you to drop, but it's not ready for viewing yet. But we're keyword marketing success. So in that is going to be little training. So if you wanted to, we'll do some group coaching on LinkedIn, and it will be, let's go look at your profile. Let's work through your profile. Let's go see what keywords might be useful for you along the way. And we'll learn from each other, because I find in the group setting, if you're showing somebody one thing, the other person, they can be looking at it and going, oh, wait, I could change my stuff there too. So it's a really, really valuable way of learning. Yeah.
I love doing that in the program I run. Multiple eyes on it, and you get all kinds of perspective, and at the same time you're almost getting like user feedback.
Exactly.
It's just like such an awesome way for everybody to learn. So, all right, just before we look at that, 2 minutes under. So before we close out, is there anything that you can tell us that you see that is the biggest mistake that people are making with either LinkedIn or their social media presence? Because you're the expert.
Well, I would just say use keywords. When you're doing your blurb, so we talked about different spots in LinkedIn, but when you're doing a blog post, or not a blog post, but a post in social media, whether it be Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, whatever it might be, make sure you really are clear about what you're trying to get people to learn, right? Because a lot of times it just doesn't like say, hey, check this out, and then it has a link to something. I'm not going to check it out. But hey, check out these top social media tips from, my best colleagues or whatever. Then it's like, oh, okay, social media tips. That's what I want to see. So just make sure that you don't miss that opportunity when you're sharing things out to attract it, because people will be searching.
So the social media tips is actually one of the keywords. So you snuck that into the title.
Exactly.
Crafty. Now, before we go, I really am curious to ask you, you're a best-selling author. That's amazing. Your book was The Silver Lining of Cancer. When did that come out?
That came out in April of this year.
Wow. Yes. That's amazing. So I take it you're a cancer survivor.
I am. Yes. Breast cancer. 10 years ago. No, 9 years ago. See, time goes by so fast, which is great because I'm still here.
Exactly. Yeah,
this is here's the book here.
Cool. So 13 Courageous Women. Oh, so it's a collaboration.
It is a collaboration. So what I found is that people kept telling me I should share my story, or keep asking me to share my story. And I thought, I bet you there's so many other women out there that have a story to share about, going through a horrible time in their life, yet finding something that was amazing. I remember one person who's not in this here told me about her mom being sick and her and her sister getting together and going to get pajamas at Walmart, matching pajamas at Walmart. And her brother called and said, what are you doing? And they told him, and he said, I'll meet you there. I want some too. And they made a memory. So it's like, if you can find those memories, and those memories will always live on. I think that's just really important. And I want to inspire people that are sitting in waiting rooms across the world. I want to give them something that they can pick up and read that's going to inspire them or make them feel good versus, a celebrity magazine that doesn't cut it when you're sitting there at that.
Lost in the confusion and
lost hair, whatever. I mean, you're not feeling at your best. So you really don't want to see, other people looking their best, and at least not at that point. And
yeah, that's an awesome idea. Get it in every waiting room.
Yes, that's definitely what I'm doing. That's my goal. My passion project is to, look for sponsors and sponsors that will allow us to get the book into as many waiting rooms as possible.
Oh, that's amazing. That's just amazing. So where could someone find that book? It's on Amazon?
It's on Amazon. You can also go to thesilverliningofcancer.com. If you wanted to order a book and have it signed and I'd mail it to you, we could do that as well. But yeah, that's where you'd find us.
That's awesome. That's one more link we're going to be putting underneath here.
Thank you so much.
Well, Tracey, thanks so much for spending the time and telling us all about the value that you just gave us, all about LinkedIn and social media presence and keywords and hashtags, your program or your strategy sessions and your book. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see you in the group. Now talk to you soon. Okay. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.